Hello, everyone. I have a special guest. Her name is Nimra Azir, and she's here to talk about this global sensation and how it is bridging gaps between the American and Pakistani community. She's going to speak about how this sensation, Oneijah Robinson, has transformed the world and diplomatic relations. So, Nimra,
Hi,
thank you for
everyone.
joining us.
Thank you. Thank you, Maria, for having me. It is absolutely a pleasure here speaking to you about it.
Thank you for joining us. I really appreciate it, especially because of the time difference.
Yeah, I mean, yes, we had a hard time catching up with it, but thank you so much for having me.
It's a pleasure. So please introduce yourself. Tell the audience your background, your studies, your education, and what you're doing now currently.
So, okay, basically, I did my O levels from Happy Home School, which is based in Karachi, which is the capital, which is the industrial capital of Pakistan. And then I did my A levels again from Karachi. I recently graduated from NAST, Islamabad. I did my bachelor's in public diplomacy and public administration. I interned for 6 months at Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Pakistan. After that, I recently got a job in U.S. Embassy for the regional English language department, which is basically a sub department of public diplomacy. So, the cultural diplomacy, public diplomacy, it's my forte. So, Oneijah Robinson's case is my prime case study, you can say. So, in 2025, we are seeing different kind of diplomacies, and this is a very interesting one. And I feel like we are going to see more of it.
So thank you for sharing that. So as you mentioned diplomacy, please
Yeah.
explain how Onesia's presence, just by serendipity and falling in love, has led to this essentially diplomacy between two nations, how
Yeah.
that's impacted the relationship between the two countries.
This is a digital world, right? We are living in a mass digitization era. So TikTok is on the top, as we all know. So the Onija's events or instances in Pakistan, I mean, people are making reels on it, TikToks on it. And it's amazing to see how Pakistanis and especially the Black Americans community in USA, they are following the same kind of content. So, it's creating a bridge. You can say interest now, or we are following the same trends, so we are kind of on the same side of the globe for now, at least, thanks to Anija Robinson.
Yes, and she's helped to dismantle certain
Yeah.
stereotypes and misunderstandings regarding the Pakistani culture, specifically as it relates to women not having opportunities to become educated, that are not part of the workforce and the economy. So speak to that.
That's I think that's a stereotype that was broken like years ago, because I feel like women in Pakistan, they are more empowered than I would not deny the cases of certain women who are not privileged enough to be, to be educated or to, get opportunities to work. But for most of the women in Pakistan, they are free to do what they want to do. I mean, you go to any school, you go to any college or any high school, any university, you would find women in larger numbers than men. I mean, the batch I graduated, the ratio of men or of women to men, it was like 7 to 3. Women are extremely educated, although we do face some sort of discrimination when it comes to the workspace or when it comes to the
Mhm.
marriage institution. But yeah, we are finding our ways. I mean, if you take my example, I am the eldest of my family. I mean, I have two younger brothers and a younger sibling. I live alone in another city on my own, but my brother, he has to be home before 7 p.m. or else my, dad is he's gonna get a scold from my dad. So yeah, I mean, I am more empowered, but I think I mean, the trends are changing,
Mhm.
although it is not that fast as it should be, but there is progress, and we are seeing some sort of progress when it comes to women and women empowerment. But definitely women are empowered here. That's a stereotype that we see on media. So that's basically a narrative built around, it's I feel like it's not just Pakistani women, it's more about Muslim women's, the stereotype, they are more stereotyped that they are not empowered, they don't get education, they are not in the workforce. So I think that's more of a religious stereotype, I would say.
Mhm. Okay, understood.
Yeah.
Specifically in terms of education,
Yeah.
80% of medical students happen to be
Yeah.
women in Pakistan. So
Yeah.
overwhelmingly, a disproportionate amount of women go into medicine. Why is that?
All right. Basically, there's not any, you can say there's no one answer to it. It's a
Mhm,
multi-dimensional topic to explore. The first dimension I would say is more about gender stereotyping, because
mhm,
women they're associated more with nursing fields, caregiving fields, because we are naturally, uh, I would not say naturally, but socially we are considered to be nurturing and caring, and the medical field, seems like a good fit for us. And there's another notion or another dimension to it, which is, I mean, I'll explain it to you. It's called Dr. Bahu.
mhm,
Bahu is basically daughter-in-law. So people seek out women who are doctors for this, and not for the sake of their profession or education, but it's just a social status mark, you can say. All right. I mean, they would not want those girls to work after marriage, but they would definitely want a Dr. Bahu for themselves. So it's just a social status. It's just a stigma, you can say. I'm not speaking on behalf of all the women. I'm just
mhm,
speaking on behalf of the women that I know, because I've got some doctors in my family. So they would leave their practice after getting married because the in-laws are not supportive. And yeah, there's another thing. Doctors in Pakistan in general, it's not even about women or
mhm,
men. Doctors in general in Pakistan, they are facing an employment crisis here. I mean, they are not, although they are graduated, they have their degrees, they are doctors, but they don't have the jobs because the government, they do
mhm,
not have the jobs available for them. Even if there are
mhm,
jobs available, they're highly, um, how do I phrase it out? I mean, they're not well paid, basically. And
mhm,
they don't get their allotments, they don't get their residency. So it's like more of a governance issue as well. So they try their best to they prepare and apply for USMLE, they apply for PLAB. So just want to
mhm.
leave the country for this particular reason. I think no issue is one dimensional. There's a lot contributing to that one particular notion, I would say.
Okay, so that's
Yeah.
really interesting. So, because of the lack of opportunities for both men and
Yeah.
women in Pakistan in terms of excelling as a physician they're forced to go abroad and study. And so
Yeah.
that contributes to a brain drain. So that already dismantles the understanding that there's few women in medicine because of gender stereotypes or because of misogyny. It's because of lack of opportunity. So couple that with in-laws not being supportive. Well, it's not worth it for you to struggle as a doctor if you're not
Yeah.
paid well, if you're burnt out and you're not receiving the recognition.
Yeah, and top of that, the education for medicine, it's hell expensive here. I mean,
Uh-huh.
not a lot can afford to become a doctor. It's very, very, very expensive. And after spending a fortune on it and not getting a good job and not earning well, I mean, what's the use of it? So
Mhm.
yeah, so that's the thing.
As you talk about professional women, there's this
Yeah,
tension I would speak to the US in terms of
yeah.
educated women are sort of seen as radioactive. So it's so interesting to see like Pakistan, they're favored and treasured, whereas in the US, an educated woman can be taboo or too much.
I don't like disagree. I hate to deny this because we face that here as well. I mean, patriarchy is everywhere. I think it's borderless. It's not confined to US or Pakistan. Patriarchy has been, here with us in this universe since
Hmm.
like for thousands of years. So, it's everywhere. It's everywhere. So yeah, educated women who can speak, who know their rights, who want to have a career, they are
Hmm.
considered rebellious. They are considered um I don't know if that's the appropriate word to use. Impure. I mean,
Hmm.
people would not want to marry them because they're highly opinionated. They know their way. So yeah, I mean, they just don't like getting their fragile egos being hurt. So they don't like that.
Exactly,
Yeah,
exactly.
maybe I might be hurting so many fragile egos right now while I'm speaking to you.
Hmm. We both are.
Yeah, we both are. I am a hardcore feminist.
I know. I love that. I love that. So, as we speak about the cultural norms, Oneijah also exposes the beautiful side of Islamic principles
Yeah,
because Islam is so misunderstood in the West, the United States. And so we see Islam values played out in real time in HD. So
yeah.
speak about that. Speak about the beautiful Islamic principles that are interwoven regarding the community and the healthcare system.
I mean, Islam is a beautiful religion. I mean, I was born into it, but as I grew up, as I got education, as I got my rationale, I I realized how blessed I am to be to belong to a religion that is so beautiful. I mean, it has instructions for every being. I mean, whether it is animals, whether it is non-Muslims, whether it is, your own family, even yourself. And I did not see, an ounce of cruelty or injustice or hatred towards anybody. See, Oneijah, she was a stranger to us, right? I mean, we had nothing to do with her. Even I would not like to say, but she was not even supported by the people who were supposed to help her out. Her, I would say, here in Pakistan. But we treat our we treat everybody as a guest. You come here, and if you're in problem, they would take you to their homes, and they would, just feed you Pakistani food, and they would love to host you, and they would love to take you. I mean, you would just feel home. So it's a
Hmm.
norm here. It's, obviously, I'm not going to say that you'll just find good people. There will be bad people as well. There will be bad time and bad places, but I guess it is everywhere. The 1% of negativity, it is everywhere. It's irrelevant of Pakistan or US. our our religious values are around hospitality. It's around kindness. We are very emotional people, I would say. I mean, you tell us a story and we would start crying, and we would do anything to help you out. So yeah, we are emotionally very strong and very sensitive at the same time.
I love that. I love that. Also, there's been comments on social media regarding if you're going to have a mental health crisis, go to Pakistan and have it because people would take care of you.
I'm not sure about the medical part of it, but the social part of it, I can relate to it.
Hmm.
About the mental health crisis going on in the West, I feel like the subcontinent, India and Pakistan, or the eastern part of the world in general, it is doing better. I would say that is largely because of the spiritualism that is highly ingrained into our belief system. Whether we are Muslims, we are Hindus, Sikhs, what distincts us is that we have a very how I mean we have a very hardcore spiritual values going on, religious values. So we know that there's karma going on. We know that at the end of the day we will be rewarded, or the person not doing good to you is going to be punished. So it gives us something to hold on. We know that there is going to be some light at the end of the tunnel. So when the whole community shares the same belief system, they are sharing the certain acts together, so it creates some sort of synergy. So you have some hope. You still have, you still look up to the life, and it's gonna pass. So yeah, I feel like those things help a lot when it comes to mental health in general.
Absolutely. Absolutely. As I mentioned to you earlier, that this channel is dedicated to helping people move abroad, not for
Yeah,
the vanity aspect, but because Americans are starved for community and starved for family. Because the West is good for making money. That's
yeah,
pretty much what it's good for. But the East has the secrets regarding family and community and humanity. And so we're experiencing a mass movement of Americans,
yeah,
especially marginalized groups like Black Americans, going to what countries considered like conservative countries or
yeah,
countries of the global South that may not have economic wealth in terms of a large GDP, but are so rich in values.
yeah,
And
definitely.
so it shows that it's not all or nothing. It's not just about making money, that people need humanity, people need community in order to prosper as well.
I absolutely agree. I absolutely agree. I mean, if you interview our fellow Pakistanis living abroad or in USA, and you ask them if they want to go back, or if they compare Pakistan with US, they would say the same, that nothing's like Pakistan. Why not? Because they're making more money there in US, so they should be happier, but they still miss being in Pakistan because of the bonding we share. I mean, even if you I mean, everybody in Pakistan checks up on you. I mean, your neighbors checks up on you, your distant relatives checks up on you. Like, so there is a family system going on, extended family system. In our family, it is not just our parents and siblings. It's going to be our grandparents, it's going to be our aunts, our uncles, and their children, and even their children. So we share a very strong, you can say, family system here, which which really helps. I mean, which really helps with loneliness and depression and everything. So you
Mhm.
always have something to do. Sometimes, I mean, you have weddings to attend, you have events to attend, you have attend to sick people and everything. So you don't get a lot of time to, be alone or, be depressed. So yeah, that's keep you going here.
There's a loneliness epidemic in the US, particularly, probably in the EU, but I could speak predominantly, especially in like New York and the big cities, where
Yeah.
people are immensely lonely and they're missing that community. Like you said, people check up on you. It's not just your
Yeah,
parents, it's cousins, it's in laws, it's a neighbor passing by.
exactly.
My family's from the Caribbean, so we're familiar with that too, where someone's just walking by and they yell, "Hello, how are you? Good afternoon," and they're just keeping going. "Oh, I
Absolutely.
just came in for some juice because it's hot," and they keep going. Like,
Absolutely, I agree. So
yeah,
I
it's like
think that these are the little things that make people feel that they are valued or they are looked after. So yeah, I can totally relate to it. So I guess
yes.
the American dream is bursting. I mean, 2025 is going to be the year, thanks to Oneijah.
Yeah, thanks to Anijah. So, how do you, I know we're speculating, so how do you see diplomatic relations? Do you think her presence will evolve onto a national level in
I
terms of diplomatic relations between the US and
I think
Pakistan?
it has already evolved to a national diplomatic notion, I would say, because see, our a lot of our institutions were involved in it. Police was actively involved in Onaidra's case. They were there, even they bid farewell to her. They made sure that she boarded her plane. They were with her till the very last step of her here in Pakistan. So
Hmm.
I think she has already become a national diplomatic how case study here in Pakistan. So I think Pakistan is still going to be welcoming to other Black Americans that want to come here to Pakistan. So I mean, Pakistan is not a difficult country to visit, to get a visa, even a citizenship here. I mean, so
Hmm.
I think that's not going to be a lot of problems for the Americans that want to come to Pakistan.
I can see a lot of Americans picking up and moving to Pakistan. So many
Yeah,
already have documented. It doesn't get a lot of attention because of just people don't, most Americans don't know much about Pakistan, but there've been
yeah,
some who've gone there for business, gone there for education.
yeah.
So I could see people picking up and moving. So can you speak about the visa process and the citizenship?
Actually, yeah, I guess for citizenship, you need to know the language. You need to be here for 4 years. And
Hmm.
maybe in some cases, you need to have some sort of investment or property here. So the citizenship process here in Pakistan is not very tedious or very exhaustive as it is in US. So I
Yes.
think that's not going to be a big of a problem for people that want to come here. And what was the other part of the question? I
The
just
visa process, the visa
the
process for temporary
I mean,
stay.
it depends. It's entirely different for us to apply for US. The visa process is very different. I mean, it's very, I would say, it's very restrictive. I mean,
Hmm.
not a lot of people get the visas. Like it's just the screening is very tight, and
Hmm.
again, it's case relevant. I mean, it's not. There is no uniform process for it.
Okay,
Yeah.
understood. So we anticipate the large influx of visa applicants in the next year of tourist visas, as well as I think healthcare visas. Do you know much about like the healthcare system in Pakistan?
Okay, so basically, the healthcare system, there are two dimensions to it. We got public healthcare sector, and we
Hmm.
have got private healthcare sector. So the healthcare sector in Pakistan, it's amazing. I would not lie, it's amazing. And I mean, unlike I'm not sure about US, but I am a little familiar with the UK system. The
Hmm.
healthcare system is like it's not very up to the mark. So people from UK they come to Pakistan a lot for the medical treatments,
Hmm.
and I mean it is good, but again it depends on it depends on your social standing here. I mean, if the public sector hospitals they are good, but you have to wait. I mean, the waiting time is a lot, and because it is free, so the quality of medical treatment you get is not equivalent to what you get in private hospitals, because obviously you're paying more, so you're getting better treatment and better facilities. So I
Hmm.
guess that's the case everywhere, but yeah, the medical facility here in Pakistan, it is good. It's not below the bar, I would say.
Okay, understood. Well, what Americans were extremely impressed by was the healthcare. And so despite well, Anissa having a difficult moment, we can't speak to whether or not it's a mental health crisis. She was being treated, and
Yes.
so Americans were commenting, well, at least she received health care, because
Yeah.
had she have had this episode in the US, the outcome could have been extremely different. Oops, sorry. The outcome could have been extremely different,
Yeah.
especially because US hospitals are strapped for resources. If you don't have insurance, your treatment will be subpar. And so a lot of people go without treatment, without services. And so there's such a large disparity with the uninsured and those who have insurance. That coupled with even people who have insurance, the hospitals are failing. So there's so much inequity, even on a for those who have more resources and who are wealthy in the US, doesn't mean that you're going to get carte blanche in terms of medical treatment just because
Yeah.
you can pay for it. Because the discrepancies, the inequity in the healthcare system eventually pervades to those who have a lot of resources. There's not a lot of investment in the hospitals. And so Americans are going abroad for healthcare
Yeah.
because it's not a human right in the US. It's a profit driven model. And so Americans are really struggling in terms of getting healthcare. So that's why
Yeah.
Americans were so impressed that, oh my God, the doctor came. We were like in shock because mental illness in the US in major cities, it's not treated well. There's poor services. And especially in New York, a person who has an episode, the police are called and it can end up being a fatal episode.
I am so sorry to hear about that. I mean, I think it's unfortunate, especially for a country like US.
Hmm.
In Pakistan, it is not a norm to have medical insurances. I mean, it's very rare for people to have insurance. So you can get medical treatment regardless of the fact if you have a medical insurance or if you do not have a medical
Hmm.
insurance. And apart from that, speaking of the resources, we have got a social system running that, I mean, we have the zakat institution which helps the needy who cannot afford their own medical bills. So we have got generous people here. I mean, you'll find a donor, you'll find a sponsor who can,
Mm.
who can sponsor your medical treatment here. So we have got a lot of things going on. I mean, when it comes to medical treatments, I mean, we have got the public sector, we have got the private sector.
Hmm.
Although the facilities or the treatment is not at the par, I mean, of that of the private sector, but still people are getting good treatment in public hospitals, and even for treatments they cannot afford, there's always this institution of zakat, this institution of almsgiving. So
Hmm.
yeah, I would say it's not that bad here in Pakistan when it comes to the medical sector.
That's wonderful to hear. Can you speak about the free ambulance service or the volunteer ambulance service in Pakistan? It's
We
the Mhm.
Yeah, we have got a lot of volunteer, I mean, the free ambulance service. I mean, they do it voluntarily. There
Oh.
is Eddie ambulance.
Hmm.
Um, Abdul Sattar Eddie, although he passed away a few years ago, but I'm sure everybody would know him. He did so much for the humanity. I mean, regardless of color, regardless of religion, or regardless of nationality. So, you go into any street of Pakistan in any city, you would find an ambulance with Eddie written on it. So
Mm.
they won't charge you for it's like it's in huge numbers. And then there is this Chipa,
Hmm.
the one with the person who was with Oneijah. They run a similar service, and we've got a couple others as well. So they run a similar service. So yeah, it's very common here. I again the welfare system here in Pakistan, the social welfare system here in Pakistan, it is very strong. I find it strange not seeing in in countries that are doing better when it comes to economy or GDP. So in that scenario, I think Pakistan is very rich.
So tell us about the culture of philanthropy in Pakistan, that there's an emphasis on giving back to the community. Especially we saw that played out with Mr. Chipa helping Oneijah.
So basically, we Pakistanis, we are very empathetic people. We empathize with um, everybody and anybody. So philanthropy is it's a building block of our belief and norm system here in Pakistan. So you will find a lot of philanthropists in Pakistan, and Mr. Chipa was one of them. In the case of Oneijah Robinson, there's Mr. Chipa. There is the greatest philanthropist of the all time, that was Abdul Sattar Eddy. He passed away few years ago. They have their ambulance system going on. As we all know, Pakistan has the world's largest free ambulance system, and you go into any street of Pakistan and you would find an ambulance standing there, and that would take you to hospital, or to the place that you require in urgency, and they would not take money. So there's Chipa, there's Eddie. So I mean, you will find there's this langar system going on. Langar system is basically you give food to people daily. I mean, the daily wages, and those who cannot afford food, so they get to have some food. So yeah, it's on a mass scale here in Pakistan. So you will find orphanages, you will find these langar systems. Langar system is basically food drive, free food drive. And
Mhm.
then there is old age home, and then there is mortuaries, and a lot of stuff going on. So yeah, philanthropy in Pakistan is remarkable.
As we end this interview, I want to we'll speculate a bit, but Anisha has expressed Pakistan. She's Pakistani as far as she's concerned. Like Pakistan is in her heart. It is in her
Uh,
heart. So, do you anticipate that she'll become a citizen?
I think it won't be an issue for her because, as far as I know, according to my knowledge, it is not very difficult to get citizenship here in
Hmm.
Pakistan. All you need to have is like spend 4 years here, get to know our language, and the fact that she was sent is because her visa was expired.
Hmm.
So yeah, there is always a formal channel or procedure, a proper procedure to follow. So I guess if she does that, she can be Pakistani.
Yes,
But yeah,
exactly.
we consider her part of our community now.
Yeah, of course, because she's insistent. She says she's Pakistani now. As far as she's concerned, she loves the food. One of the beautiful things she said, she's like, I love that they pray a lot. So
Oh,
she was really, really embracing the culture, the beauty of the Pakistani culture. And even though we saw difficult moments on camera,
yeah.
she was living her best life after a while, feeling so supported by the people, and people were enjoying her. It wasn't just entertainment. I just think that they saw her as a sister,
Yeah,
and in
I
some
mean,
cases, a daughter.
you, you would become sister. I mean, you would be sister zoned instantly here in Pakistan.
Mhm.
And you would feel this connection like almost instantly. So yeah, people are very welcoming, and they would just make you their sister, their daughter, or
Mhm.
yeah. So it's very normal here.
That they just adopt you. They're like, you belong to us now.
Yeah, they would. Yes, yes, they would do the same. I mean, to anybody.
We're happy that she's in a stable place to return to the US, but we're looking for 2.0, her ventures next in Pakistan when she returns, because that's also going to
Yeah,
be
we are
wow.
definitely waiting for her. We are definitely waiting for her to visit us again. And yeah, we would love to host more of Black Americans here in Pakistan.
Yeah, I think that's going to be in the future. Pakistan getting ready for summer plans for all the Americans traveling this summer.
Pakistan has got amazing tourist spots. The northern part of Pakistan, it's absolutely breathtaking. You would not regret visiting Pakistan at all.
I know it looks absolutely breathtaking with the ruins and the nature, the mountains. It's stunning, such a stunning country. The people as
Yeah,
well as the nature. So, Nimra, I really thank you for sharing your
yeah,
beautiful country and helping explain some things for people who are curious about visiting Pakistan and to participate in this important discussion about two cultures coming together through humanitarian, through compassion and dignity. So, thank you.
definitely. Thank you so much, Mariam, for having me and giving me a chance to share my thoughts on this particular matter. I mean, I had a great time
Oh,
talking about it.
such a enlightening discussion, and I'm happy that you can share the beautiful culture with so many of us.
Definitely. There's beauty in every culture. I don't think so that any culture or any part of the world, I mean, that is not beautiful. It's just up to us how we capture that beauty or how we hold on to our values. I feel like every value system, every belief system, regardless of religion or, culture or ethnicity, is beautiful. It teaches humanity, it teaches kindness. So it depends on us as individuals. That is what I believe.
Absolutely. And we see through the social media, like there's so much, commentary that social media is not good and it's addictive, but then we see
Yeah,
social media really mobilize and create movements that could not have
yes,
been done in any official
yeah,
capacity. Dignitaries couldn't have done what Oneijah did.
exactly.
Able to,
We are seeing different kind of digital elements, and this digital diplomacy, this is definitely novel, but I think it's going to be here for a very long time now.
absolutely. And it's sort of the governments are in the past. The people are moving forward and they don't care what the
Yeah,
government says about the respective countries.
yeah, they're getting more awareness. Yes, definitely. I feel like today's generation, it is becoming more aware of the history, the true history, not the ones that we were taught in a textbook, which were
Mhm,
yeah, dictated by a certain class. So we are becoming more aware of our surroundings, of what our
mhm,
rights are, how are we being, exploited and manipulated. So I think we
mhm.
are, in general, we are more aware. This generation is more aware. So yeah, we are moving beyond governments and what we see on what we see on news and everything. So I think rationally we have become more aware, this generation.
Yeah, I love to see it. Especially, historically, Pakistan and the U.S. had a complex relationship. The U.S. and China have a complex
Yeah,
relationship, but through social media, Americans are like, I'm not having it. I'm not listening to the major networks. I'm going to China to see for myself. I'm going to Pakistan to see for myself. And in the same for China and Pakistan, they're like, no, I love Americans. They're so kind and they're so curious and they love our culture. So it's the powers that be, the agenda, no longer has the control and the influence that it once did. People are finding out for themselves that, oh, they don't dislike me because of the color of my skin. They don't care about the color of my skin. So, especially for people, Black people in the US are scared to travel to certain countries because they think they're going to be met with hostility because the media encourages them that, oh, this group of people are not embraced, and so they don't travel, they don't venture to certain countries because who wants to be met with hostility? But the truth of the matter is, many of the Western countries have hostility toward Black Americans. It's not these Eastern countries.
exactly. I mean, if we go back into the real history, we know who the real culprits are.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Well, Nimra, thank you again. It's a pleasure speaking with you. I hope to do this again. Next, perhaps we'll talk about all the beautiful places a tourist should visit
Yeah,
in
I will
Pakistan.
be, I will be better prepared and not get nervous. I will have a lot to say.
No,
Thank
it's
you.
okay. It's okay. It's hard
Thank
sometimes.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah, but thank you
All
so much
right.
for having me, Mariam.
My pleasure. Thank you as well.